Hey guys, what's happening? Today we're going to talk about something a little different here on the channel. Talk about a problem I've been having with my Jeep Gladiator. I know a few of you guys out there may also own a Gladiator or even a Wrangler. Same platform. These vehicles are equipped with an auxiliary battery for your start-stop feature. And when those things fail, they suck all the juice right out of your main battery and leave you staring at it on the side of the road. It gives you a weird error message that says, hey, vehicle's going to shut down. And pretty much it just locks you out dead stick. Rolls the windows down in my case. And turn the wipers on and all kinds of other weird gremlins that happened all at once. So if you want to change the actual auxiliary battery, you have to remove the fuse box here. Or you have to come in and go down here under the fender well and remove all this crap and get into it. Now, 9 times out of 10, you don't have a problem when you swap your batteries out. But you might accidentally arc it and you'll blow a fuse and it'll have you chasing your tail for days. Now, I was on the side of the road when this happened with ours, and you know, we put new batteries in it and basically had nothing on the dash. Nothing worked whatsoever. Well, I got to thinking about it, started looking around. So I'm actually going to talk about the fuse array. Now, how many of you guys know what that is or where it's located? Well, this here is your fuse array right here, which is also, looks like this thing right here. This is what it is. Basically a big old blade fuse. Now, a lot of times people will tell you got a bad fuse panel, you have to replace this whole block. Well, that's not always the case. I'm not saying it can't be the case, but this here is a $20 to $60 option versus a $800 to $900 option if you have to take it to the dealer. There's a simple way to check and see if your fuse array is bad, and I'll show you guys how to do that here in just a second. But like with this one here, it rolled down the windows, turned on the windshield wipers and all that kind of stuff right there, and it was going to rain. We didn't want soggy seats and everything. What I did was, because this terminal here is the one that blowed, which is N3, and this here is a spare that always has power. What I done was I pulled this one out, stuck it over here to roll the windows up, but of course it was giving me all kinds of weird error codes like vehicle not in park when clearly it was in park because it's an electronic transmission. You know, it just basically makes you chase your own tail. So I thought maybe this might help some of you guys out there that might own one of these. I'm also going to show you guys what I did to bypass that auxiliary battery. That way I don't have that problem anymore because we don't use the start-stop anyway. Now this is what I've done to test and see what was going on with my fuse array to see whether that was blown. Now what I've done here is I put a jumper on, of course, and I'm hooked to here and that's grounded. We're just going to use a simple test light here and we're going to actually check and see which ones are blown. So we got a good test here, bad test here. Got a good one here, good here, good here, good here. So we got power everywhere except here. Now this here is actually for the start-stop feature. When you change the battery out, you might have accidentally arced it because there's all kind of weird things that you can actually arc under here under the hood. I mean, as simple as giving it a jump start, it didn't like the damn jumper cables or any little weird hiccup. These new vehicles suck ass. But anyhow, that's how you test one of those to see what it is. And like I said, this here is for the ESS, which is, or EES, whatever the hell that, I think it's ESS. Anyway, it's for your start-stop feature. Now this here is a brand new fuse array. So we'll test here again. Power there, power there, power there, power there, power there. So now we got power all the way across. Now, I actually bought 2 of these things just in case I fried the other one when I was trying to figure out what was going on with this thing. Because like I said, I got them for $20 a piece instead of the $60 that Mopar wants for them. I think 69, 70 bucks, whatever it is. So I would have bought 2 of these things just to have a spare in case it ever does it again, like I said. Now, like I said, I was on the side of the road, so I didn't film any of that because I was trying not to get ran over because we were on a major state route, a lot of truck traffic, and I was just trying to hurry up and try to get something going. So I wanted to go ahead and show you those fuses, but I'm not going to pull this one out again just to show you that. They're real simple. Once you just pull back all these bolts off here, it lifts straight up. It's not hard to get out. It's not hard to put back in. It's actually really easy. But I would start there before sending it out to Jeep and then having them talk about replacing all this or to a mechanic because it's going to get pretty expensive. Now also, I went ahead and replaced my terminal because, you know, these things here, one, I don't like them, but this one here actually it broke and wouldn't tighten back up. Now you can't go to the auto parts store and buy that. You actually have to get that from Jeep, and Jeep don't sell that individually. You have to buy the whole piece that goes into the harness. You don't want to do all that. Like I said, we broke that one there, and so we end up going over to O'Reilly's and getting this marine terminal here. It works just fine. It's easy to connect. It's not going to hurt anything. It ain't going to hurt inside your Jeep. It ain't going to mess with anything electronic. It's just a good terminal. And it's $7 versus that astronomical amount for the whole kit that goes down inside it from Jeep. Now to bypass this, you're going to have to get into your fuse block here, and you're going to have to pull a 10 amp fuse, which is number 42. It's for your ESS or EES, whatever the hell you want to call that system. Let's see if we can read here. It is actually called, oh, it's the F42 fuse, and it is for, what is it? Get my old man eyeballs out here. So yeah, it is the ESS system. So that's the fuse for the ESS system. Now this here is actually your ground cable for your auxiliary battery. It goes on this post right here. So what I done was I took it off of there, taped it up, zip tied it back, that way it can't arc on anything. Therefore I eliminated the whole start stop battery, the auxiliary battery. So hopefully we won't have that problem again. I know I got a wiring mess here because I had everything apart thinking that something here was kind of drawing on whatever or causing my problem. So I just kind of randomly pulled everything out of the wire loom, and so I got kind of a rat's nest here, and I just kind of pieced some things back together, you know, eliminating some issues, making sure none of the wiring for any of the extra lights that we have on the Jeep, none of that stuff was the case. So now I'm going to clean all this back up and make it look nice and pretty again. But I thought maybe that would help some of you guys out, especially if you run across the same issue with your Wrangler or your Gladiator, or pretty much any vehicle that's got a start-stop system. Especially if you want to be a cheapskate like me and not spend $200 for an auxiliary battery that has really no purpose other than to start and stop your vehicle when you come to a stoplight. Which I think is, like I said, it was one of the dumbest things they ever put on a vehicle, but like every newer car's got that crap, and it's prone to fail. And I've been noticing a lot more vehicles are using these kind of fuses here now across the board. And they definitely vary in price. So, like I said, get old school, get your probe out. Check your fuse array if you have that problem. Look for a blown one. If it doesn't light up, it's blown. And if one of these are blown in here, it will not allow any power or current to go through. So, hope this helped, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little tidbit into the day in the life of the Motorhead Misfit, trying to figure out what the hell's been going on with the Misfit Gladiator here. Because, you know, after all that, I ended up having to have it towed, and 7 miles cost me $150. We don't want to do that again. So anyway, hence why I bought a second one. So hopefully you guys got something out of this, and if you did, or if you have any questions, maybe I can give you a hand. Definitely leave it down in the comments. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we can wrap our heads around together and get your problem solved. Well, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you leave me a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.